It's the book of Genesis, chapter 47. Start at verse 13. Point is verse 15, and it reads, Genesis 47 and 13. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore. So the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. Verse 14. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Verse 15. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. I want to start off with giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to God. Loyam, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kudus Thumb. I say, double honor to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. I say, peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aqua that they're listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to the truth. To you, I say shalom. It's your brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, fellow servant, and I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. And this lesson is in regards to an article I seen. It's not just an article, if people or if anybody out there that's listening to this, I'm just gonna say it like this. You got some people that are aware of what's going on, that actually follow the news, that are circumspect. You got some people that are just completely blinded and lost, and it's both, it's the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to have some people actually able to, see, and you got some people that he has, put that spirit of blindness on. Saying all that to say this, I believe it was yesterday that you had Bank of America as well as a few other banks having issues with customers' deposits. Now they're telling the customer, don't worry about it, your money's secure. But to show you how foolish a lot of individuals are, even after, the whole failing of the Silicon Valley Bank, which, like, they only told you about that and maybe a couple other banks, although it was like 722 banks at that time insolvent, basically unable to pay their bills. Now, I can't think of the name of the program, but based on that, the Federal Reserve, created, again, you would have to look it up, or like I said, again, that's my fault for not preparing all the way correctly. I should have looked up the information and had it on standby. But it's a program that the Federal Reserve created to allow the banks to borrow. So I went ahead and just looked it up. So the program they created was called the Bank Term Funding Program, BTFP. It's created to support American businesses and households by making additional funding available to eligible depository institutions to help ensure banks have the ability to meet the needs of their depositors. Now, although all this stimulus money, that's how you know the system a joke too. Like, all this money that changed hands within the last couple of years, but now these banks are broke. Just like I did a video yesterday about, you got these shipping companies that's going basically broke because of the fact, they made it, shipping container usually is maybe $1,500, $2,000. But during, that time when they had people under those L downs, they were charging $10,000 to $15,000 for one single container because the whole supply chain was messed up. But now that, you're going into pretty much a recession and everything's slowing down, you got these companies, like I did a video about it. You have a major shipping company that's laying people off. So Again, you're seeing that the money felon if you have a spiritual eye salve to see. So it says on March 12, 2023, the board authorized each of the 12 Federal Reserve banks to establish and operate the BTFP. The BTFP makes funding available to eligible depository institutions. So that's to the banks to help ensure that banks have the ability to meet the needs of all their depositors. But because the banks are insolvent, the banks aren't making money, and that's why a lot of banks are closing down. They're restructuring. By you got banks that's closing brick and mortar establishments and going online because again the system is changing over. So felt I needed to bring that out because when you speak on something, you should know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So the money fell in right before our eyes. And again, just Friday, you had again, it wasn't just Bank of America; it was a few different banks. It may mention the other banks in this article, it may not, but you got people that they. I was watching the guy John Williams, and they don't want you to panic, but they want you to trust fully in them, but they don't. That's why the scriptures talk about cursed be the man that trusteth in man. You trusting in this man. You know what I mean? And when you understand how this whole system operates, you know, which again is pretty foolish in itself. Um, you know, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be believing in the system. It says Bank of America customers face deposit delays amid widespread issue. Bank of America customers have been warned of delays to deposits following an unspecified issue that is affecting multiple financial institutions. So they're not going to tell you which institutions, but they're telling you it's multiple ones. And they're talking about unspecified, but they telling you what exactly is wrong. The company reassured customers on Friday that their accounts remain secure and that no actions was needed. Now the thing is this: how could you actually say that the account is secure when you're not for sure if like with the FDIC. The FDIC only insures your money up to a point. Like with the Silicon Valley Bank, people took their money out. It was a bank run because of the fact they didn't trust the power of the institutions. And that's the problem with a lot of people right now. It's not the problem. It's the problem that the banks are suffering right now because people don't trust the bank. The whole thing is when the money failed, like the money has value because people trust in it. When people no longer trust in it, the money fails. A statement appearing on customer phone applications read some deposits from 11/3 may be temporarily delayed due to an issue impacting multiple financial institutions. Your accounts remain secure and your balance will be updated as soon as possible. It's like your accounts remain secure. Your accounts remain secure and your balance will be updated as soon as the deposit is received. You do not need to take any actions. Fellow U.S. Bank Wells Fargo also acknowledged technical issues online. The official, right, there go one. Well, fellow U.S. Bank Wells Fargo also acknowledged technical issues online. The official asked Wells Fargo customers help account responded to multiple ex-users apologizing for any inconvenience caused. We are aware of the issue and working for a resolution as quickly as we can. I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. We appreciate your patience. Among those affected were U.S. Bank, Truist, and Chase. These major banks. Chase customers also expressed concerns online over late deposits. The Federal Reserve alerted banks on Friday that the problem was caused by a processing issue. Now, again, you got to remember they just created this Fed Now thing. Who's to say? You had that guy Klaus Schwab talking about cyber attacks. And the narrative is already set. At the private sector operator of the automatic clearinghouse a national network for processing transactions. The body said an error in a batch of payments delayed the processing of payments. The clearinghouse, the private sector operator of ACH, confirmed to CNN that it experienced a processing issue with a batch of bank transactions. Greg McSweeney, a spokesperson for the clearinghouse, said the problem was caused by a manual error and is not linked to a cybersecurity issue. But the scriptures tell you never trust thine enemy. You know what I mean? This devil, which is a covetous devil, his greed cannot be shaded. Who's to say? Like he wanted all things up under his hand, and now he want you up under his hand. I just saw Edomite. You never see an Edomite where I'm at. But TCH is working with impacted financial institutions on the matter. McSweeney said in a statement to the outlet, there was no update on when the problem will be resolved. So this was just yesterday. Today is Saturday, the next day, and they saying they don't even know when it's going to be resolved. So, now brothers is going into how they could literally, once you sign all that paperwork, when you open a bank account, you've already had issues where you had certain banks, basically you had people complaining about certain banks just shutting down their accounts without an explanation, because at the end of the day, that's really not your money anymore once once you put it and sign it over and create an account, and that's why our forefathers rarely trusted banks. You know what I mean? Like, I know I grew up, that's why I never really trusted banks. You know what I mean? You got bailouts and then you got bail-ins when they use, the customers or the depositors' money to bail out the bank. So you people about to see a whole world of shit, you know what I mean? And rightfully so. I'm gonna bring out some scriptures. Like I said again, we seeing the money faileth. It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, because at the end of the day, what they consider money is not true money. The way that this system is set up, it's set up on false balances or false weights. Real money is silver and gold, land, cattle, something of value. These people giving you a paper debt note. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua answered me and said, write the vision, which is the prophecy, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that read of it. This is not, there's no need for extravagance or those big gigantic words that T.I. try to utilize. You break this down simply, you know what I mean? That's why the Most High didn't use like learned men. He used men that were on a low level, but to show you the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, he raised them up on a high level. To a point, I forgot where it's at in the scriptures, where they talking about they were so amazed when they saw, the apostles speaking, they thought that the men were learned when they weren't. The only one that actually had an education was Paul. Well, I can't say the only one, but the ones, because you gotta remember, it's men that's not mentioned like that in scriptures. You know what I mean? You gotta remember, it was more than just the 12 at one point. It says, for the vision is yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not. So like it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So because the prophecies come, they start, stop. It's looking like these things might not come to pass. But if you are a spiritual man, that's the whole thing about having faith. You know what I mean? Like, when you really take the time to think about Abraham and what took place with that, Abraham was at an age where he couldn't have no children, but he had, when the Lord blessed him with a child, because remember, he didn't even think he was going to have a child, but the Lord blessed him with a child, which was Isaac, the child of the promise. Yeah, what happened? The Lord tested his faith by telling him to sacrifice Isaac. And he didn't hesitate at once, because he believed that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua could raise him back up. That's the kind of faith the Lord is looking for. What's that in the book of John chapter 4? It said the time of that the true worshipers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, The true worshipers of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will both worship in faith and in truth. Verse, so these, like I say, that's what the Lord looking for. And like I said, we without a doubt see, if you a spiritual man and you in these scriptures and you in the right spirit, you seeing the things that are required and supposed to taking place right now, what I mean? So, and brothers is in the spirit of bring it. Baba Kashah, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you know what I mean? Bring it, you know what I mean? Put it on Esau's spirit to make his move, you know what I mean? These devils then committed themselves to sending troops. We about to be in World War III. And they got the technology to push that C-hip. And we know how the prophecy go. So Lord will, I know it won't be this year because like the brother said, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, this thing got to be bitter. People got to suffer. I was just finding out recently, I'm from the city of East Cleveland. And recently, I found out that East Cleveland doesn't have a grocery store. They got corner stores, convenience stores, but those aren't really grocery stores. Convenience store may have some Hot Pockets and some Lunchables and, they ain't got where you can budget food. You go to the grocery store to actually, you really want to go to the meat markets and shit. That's where you're going to save your money. That's when you're going to get deals on food. Grocery store run up in you, especially nowadays. But, a convenience store, they may have certain things, but to really live with a family, you can't live off of no convenience store shit. They selling bags of Funyuns and shit like that. And when that person told me, I was like, I ain't believe it because I'm from EC, you know what I mean? But to show you how literally I've been out the way, I literally just rolled past just now and it's not open. And then I see they remove their name. So I'm like, damn. So based just on that, and it made me really marvel because East Cleveland at one point in time was considered the wealthiest city in America. And now it's the most impoverished. So just based on that, that's showing you, I remember when they took the hospital out of East Cleveland, it was only a couple hospitals, on Euclid Avenue, East Cleveland, Huron Road, and then it was University Hospital. Then you had Cleveland Clinic, but they just eliminated a whole hospital. So what are they trying to do? It's ultimately Yahweh Shem Yahushua, but that's because you got to think about it. If a person has a gunshot wound, I remember a guy I grew up with, he got stabbed by somebody we grew up with. We all grew up together. He fucking with a girl that we all grew up with, and the bitch stabbed him. Now, I know the chick very well. And, the thing is, I'm like, fuck that bitch, you know what I mean? Because the simple fact is, no matter, she trying to say this and that and that and this. Now, this is, at the end of the day, she fucked him up to the point he could have died. The Lord didn't have it for him to die, but I was just like, I looked at him like he a fool. And then I looked at her like, bitch, you can't really even say nothing to me because it's like, wow, for real. If you don't do that to a nigga that you love, I know a nigga like me ain't got nothing coming, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of spirit that's going to be out here on these people. A spirit of just cold, When the scriptures talk about that, though, in the book of, what's that, Matthew? Talk about cold, iniquity shall, I gotta get it because I'm butchering it, Salakia. All kind of stuff running through my mind. Matthew chapter 24, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. That's a spirit, right? When I grab it, call Allah Yum Layah, but you says that because iniquity shall abound, meaning the sin upon sin shall increase, the love of many shall wax cold. So yeah, we was watching that video the brother put in the group chat about that Jake that killed his father and the son. There was a spirit on him. You see how cold he was? Brother called him a Terminator. I said he was a death angel, but not literally meaning he was the death angel. What I'm saying is it was a spirit of death on him. He was like the death angel jumped on his ass or something. You know what I mean? Because if you'd have seen how he did it, old buddy was real cool, calm, and collected. And he didn't panic. He didn't flip out. He did that shit. I'm surprised he didn't go in the house and get the mama, But not to digress. Back in Habakkuk chapter 2, In verse 4, and it reads, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And who is the just? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians, basically representing the elect. The elect is the only ones that's going to wait on the Lord no matter what. No matter what is thrown their way, they going to have the resolve and the spirit and the agape, they gonna have that spirit to literally endure whatever, because that's how the Lord designed and created them. Verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. So the just shall live by their faith, which is the elect. But the one that's going to transgress by wine is Esau Edom, because he transgressed by the different philosophies and his ideologies. Now, he's a proud man. Who's the proudest man on the planet? This red Hebrew Edomite, Esau Edom. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. He can't be satisfied. He's covetous, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people, because he wants everybody to follow his ways. He tries to subject everyone to the way he moves. We were talking about this at camp one time about how, based on Esau's ideal of what civilization is, he's weakened the world, to the point, he took, the skills of a man being able to provide and protect and, take care of and be able to do all these different things, and gave you civilization to cut off the hair on your face, which the Bible says a man's supposed to have a beard, especially an Israelite man. And I see why now, to distinguish what from what, you know what I mean? Not just that, but that makes sense, you know what I mean? This shit crazy. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? So it says destruction to him, because only Esau Edom wants everything. He is the covetous man on the planet. Jake, for the most part, so-called black Hispanic, most Jakes that, like when you go into Issachar or Ephraim, when Ephraim might in his right mind, or Issachar right in their right mind, they content with, just work it, provide for their family, and be it at the house with their woman, or, a barbecue, and for the most part, most Israelites think like that. But it's like the Edomite think like just, like this nigga. I remember we was out on the highways and hedges, we did like a midweek camp. And, we was in the wrong, but it wasn't that deep. It just show you the pride of the devil. It's like at least 10 of us. And, brothers is up there, it was some newcomers came up, and brother trying to, not reveal, but explain and break down, certain parts of the doctrines of them. And then you got other brothers having a conversation. We on the midst of the camera, so everybody held their composure, but it did like make you feel some kind of way, because this motherfucker seen us, it was just like he couldn't wait to say something, and it was ultimately the Lord, but it's just the pride of these motherfuckers. It's the pride, especially them. Like, don't get me wrong, 2/3 proud, some of the heathens proud. Everybody think they better than Jake, but it's just like, damn, for real, like, man, you just don't even understand, you fucking devil. You know what I mean? The arrogance of them. When you motherfuckers is like, really like, not to digress, it says, to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? How long before this devil be destroyed, Lord? You know what I mean? In due time. You know what I mean? Though it tarry, wait for it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we watching these signs, and we know that this man's his demise is approaching quickly. And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So when you go into this word clay, it's a batya. And basically, it's going into debts, heavy debts. A batya, goods, thick, and false etymology. It used to break it down a lot better in the blue letter. But long story short, it's going into this money, because this system is based on money that's not real money. And you seeing that at this exact moment. That's why these banks, they gonna say all that different shit, but it's actually people don't trust in this. They said that. I remember watching a documentary, and they was going into Fort Knox, and they showed the history of Fort Knox. This was years ago, even before I came into truth. And they was like, basically, there's no gold in Fort Knox. The documentary said that. They said The money used to be based on the gold, and that's what made our currency powerful. But no longer is that the case. It said now basically the money is backed by the word of the government, and people aren't really like like they not trusting in the word of the government. You know what I mean? Like, so again, you seeing the money fail. When you go into Revelation chapter 6 and verse 6, this money failing because again it's a debt note. You know, it doesn't really hold true value. This is Revelation 6 and 6. And because it's not real money and the money's failing, it's inflating. You know, maybe I should go into the definition of the word inflate. This is the definition of inflation out of Google. It says the action of inflating something or the condition of being inflated, the inflation of a balloon. Economics, a general increase in prices and fall in purchasing and fall in the purchasing value of money. Policies aimed at controlling inflation. So the general increase in prices and the fall in purchasing value of money. And it's examples of that in the scriptures. Revelation chapter 6 and 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when you go into this word penny, is denarius, which was the day's wage for a Roman soldier back during the Roman Empire. So it says a measure of wheat, meaning it's going to take a day's wage to buy a loaf of bread. And ancient Rome's money inflated. One of the reasons why they fell out of why the deadly why the beast with the deadly wound, you know, basically was wounded, you know. But to show you that these are the same people, you know, because the same things are taking place, you know, the same exact things, you know, same people are in power again because you know the Lord deals with you know, what's the word, like recycling, you know, the Lord, you know, that's why you got certain trends that constantly go on, you know. I remember what year was that, maybe you know, you had the bell bottoms in the late 60s and 70s and whatnot, and then during when I was growing up you had individuals rocking bell bottoms again. You know, there's nothing really new under the sun. It's just times and seasons and cycles, you know. You know, if everything reincarnates, why wouldn't it be times and seasons? It's the book of. That's why the scriptures tell you not to trust in this money, trust in these people, not to trust in man. You know, the scriptures tell you lay not yourself up treasures in on earth, but lay your treasures up in heaven. This is Matthew 6 and verse 19. Up, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Now, I'm not sure what word there's for heart, but more than likely it's probably la'ab, which means your mind, you know. So, you know, you know, that's why when you go into this, was it the, uh, right, verse 22, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light, you know. So if your eye is single, purposed, focused on his truth, you know, you're gonna be full of the glorious light of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, which is the light, you know what I mean? Because we live in a world of darkness, you know what I mean? Right now, the scriptures tell you that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Shantan is ruling this place right now, you know, so it's unbalanced, you know. This is a hell, the condition of hell for, you know, a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Central Indian, West Indian, or Haitian. It's doable and durable, you know. It's doable because of the fact that we have Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you know. We have faith, we have hope. These people ain't gonna have no hope. These people gonna eat themselves. Like I said, when I heard this about East Cleveland, because if you're not familiar with East Cleveland, you'll never understand. But you got most of the brothers in my camp familiar because they, you know, they from the city. East Cleveland, like I remember when the elder came here, he was asking like, what's the worst, like the areas. And the first thing the brother said without hesitation, East Cleveland. But I never knew they didn't have no grocery store. Do you not know what they gonna do when like they shut the food off? Oh, this bitch. Then you know what I mean. You got these corrupt ass mayors and all that. Like I never knew that. Like this. That's what. But and I heard years ago that they basically East Cleveland was gonna be done away when it's gonna turn to Cleveland. And somebody recently was just telling me like where you think the borders is not the borders anymore. Like different cities is taking this shit over. You know what I mean? So it makes sense why you got this corrupt ass mayor here or not. Like people should be questioning that. Well, how the fuck is you still the city, but y'all don't have a major grocery store? I mean, and I'm gonna do a lesson on that shit, like, cause it's like, fuck. I mean, I've seen it in other places. You know, Lakeshore is the same thing. Lakeshore was all Esau. Then they sent all Jake out there. Now that area kind of fucked up, but they don't have a grocery store like that either. Like they use Dollar General. So you got people just with it's families over there though. Like it's like CMHA housing things where it's families over there. You got senior citizen high rises. How the fuck is they living? Oh man. It made me think of Ezekiel 7 all day. Salakia for the digression. So, like I say again, you shouldn't be trusting in trying to like, especially when you see how the money about to fail. First John chapter 2, verse 15, and it reads, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world." Verse 17, "And the world passeth away." This world is done. The way that this place is ran, this Curl and Rouge ship is being taken out right before your eyes, you know. But again, you got some that can see and some can't. "And the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever." You know, this is going to lead to true immortality. You know, and it's a scripture talks about how those that trust in the Lord, you know, they don't basically they're at peace. You know, we ask for these things to come because we know we can't have the kingdom without going through these things. And a brother that's in the proper spirit is not really, you know, focused or worried about what's going to take place, you know, because they at peace because they trust and believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. That's what it is. They trust it. Those that trust in the Lord and have perfect peace. I just read it too. Salakia. You know, but you got people that trust in Egypt, you know, which is going to be to their detriment. This is the book of, it's also so spiritual, not to tell, you know, everything I see, you know, sometimes. But, you know, it looked like this Edomite just walked past. Now, he's staying in East Cleveland. East Cleveland always had Edomites sprinkled throughout here because, you know, this used to be a big drug city, which it still is. But long story short, you know, some of these ain't Edomites, though. Some of these Jakes. But this dude just literally walked and copped something. And he could walking past me and he smelling it and all this shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, I just said that there ain't no grocery store. You worry about that shit. That nigga go. So just imagine this nigga crazy. This book of Isaiah chapter 31 verse 1. "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai." You know what I mean? You trusting in this devil, but not trusting in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is going to be to your detriment. Because I always bring this out at the end of the day. The same power that can rescue you from the coming destruction is the same power that's bringing it. Verse 2, "Yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity." You know, again, sin upon sin is the iniquity, you know. And, you know, I brought the scripture out, you know what I mean? Because you got to understand Jacob's trouble, you know, and the coming destruction is not for those that believe, but for the unbelievers, for the wicked. I'm going to end it with this. This is the book of, Jeremiah, because at the end of the day, you know, you got 2/3 and these heathens and these unbelievers that's going to trust in Esau, Edom, waiting for a solution when they bring it. They're not bringing no solutions to benefit you. They're bringing, you know, every move they're making is to create this, you know, NWO. So why you trusting in man? That's why it's all them scriptures that say, "Cursed be the man," and don't trust in man, and man that put their confidence in man. I just read Isaiah chapter 31. What's that? The one in, I think, Isaiah 30. Woe to them that go down it. Let me get it. I don't want to butcher the scriptures. Because you got one in 30, Isaiah 31, but you got another one, I think, in 30. Isaiah chapter 30. Says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that taketh counsel, but not from me, but not of me, Salakia, that taketh counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." Verse 2, "That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt." Again, you're going to have these people trusting in this everything this devil talk about doing when not understanding. They talk about the Judas goat. How you had a goat that basically supposed to usher. It would lead the sheep to be captured, and then it was trained to a point where it would be leading, and then it would like sidestep while the sheep all went into the slaughter. You got 2/3 of our people that's doing that. The scriptures talk about that in the book of Isaiah chapter 9, about these leaders that lead these people, cause them to err. You got a lot of our people that sellouts and Freemasons, and what I mean. A lot of these pastors are Freemasons. I remember, I'll never forget. I was when I was going through my testimony, I went to this church, and it was off of Central, and it's a Methodist church. I'm trying to search for answers. I know I'm going through something. I know it's spiritual, but I don't know what the truth is. And the Lord was dealing with me then, though. I admit, because like I say, this pastor tried to befriend me, and it was just something weird about him. You know what I mean? And you could feel the spirit in there. You know what I mean? Like, cause the female that was a singer, but she was moving. Her and her husband, they both was like members of that church, and they were moving out of the state. Now, I'll never forget. This at the time when the economy was real fucked up. I'll never forget. I was in a shelter at the time, and you had to leave that shelter on Sundays, and you come back. I guess that's when they clinked or whatever. Long story short, everybody was going over that church, so that's what I started doing. And for whatever reason, one of the members of that congregation saw me. I don't know if he was like a deacon or something. He saw me and just literally, he like, oh yeah, boom, got to talking to me. So I talked to him, but of course I'm not telling him exactly everything about my testimony. And I was in the spirit, And then, I'm going every week, probably went like 2 or 3 weeks. And like that 4th week, to show you how the Lord reveals something, they literally like start, introducing the pastor, because they was trying to get the money to do something, and, he was trying to get the donations to fix something or do something at the church. And based on they got the donations, they treated it like it was like we just received the kingdom. I'm talking about they announced him. They talking about like this dude sound like an MC at the BET Awards, and he said they introducing the pastor, and in the midst of introducing him, he calling him all these different titles. They called him a Freemason. I say, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I say, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like now that went over everybody's head except for mine. The scriptures talk about those crept in unawares, but the Lord know what he doing too, like that spirit that got somebody calling themselves being deceitful. The Lord you're going to get extrally punished. Like the Lord, like people that's like doing this thing deceitfully, that's calling themselves like even these camps that literally that made these covenants with Esau, Edom, like they really think that they gonna escape something because they not saying certain things in their doctrine when not understanding. I just looked at something on my YouTube. Like YouTube, I don't even use my real name on all my accounts. I don't think none of my accounts got my real name, but they know all my channels are mine. So it ain't no escaping this shit. It's the only way you go be you know, delivered is if the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua wants to deliver you. You know. So again, trusting in the system, trusting in man is gonna get you destroyed. I got one final scripture. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 7. And it reads, Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and whose hope or faith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is. Verse 8, For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. So, this is the true water. This is the true food. Those that's like locked in and planted in and rooted in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. When that famine comes, they still go. The scriptures tell you that. In famine, they shall laugh. You know what I mean? It says, scripture say Isaiah 65 that y'all will not eat, but my servant shall. The elect are going to be straight in that day. But the Lord going to use this shit to, that fucked my head up. How many niggas going to die in this city, East Cleveland? It ain't no fucking grocery store. Little babies, all that shit. Scriptures say that the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has a terrible power. These people going to see it. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kodash B'Katam. I say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. I say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aqua, to listen and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth to you. I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come on another lesson. I say shalom, shalom, and Mawath Lababal, shalom.